Thanks to the good folks at Hooke Road, we are going to take care of this Jeep XJ bumper and hitch situation. You see this hitch, it hangs really low and my rear clearance is not very good. So let's see what Hooke Road's got to offer, and I'm sure you'll be impressed. Stay tuned. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below, and you might want to check them out. I think they're going to have some good Black Friday deals before Christmas. Okay, so my goal with this upgrade here is to get rid of this old OEM hitch. Well, the hitch is not OEM, it's aftermarket. You can see I barely have 12 inches of ground clearance with this. This is one of those universal hitch receivers. Curtis and a few other folks make those, but we are going to try to get this hitch from just a 12-inch ground clearance. The hitch will now be up here, and I'll have a much beefier, heavy-duty rear bumper. So let me show you what I've got. The good folks at Hooke Road sent me this bumper to try out. I told them I would make a video for y'all, and we take a look at the quality, the ease of installation, and all that good stuff. This is the first aftermarket bumper I've ever put on any of my Jeeps, so shout out to Hooke Road for sending this to me. We'll see what it does. Okay, so we're going to open this box they sent me real quick. All right. There's our bumper. Looks nice and powder coated. Got some hardware here. Okay, you get this parts box. You get a box full of brackets. All right, in these boxes we had your bumper brackets. These are powder coated pretty good. Got a bunch of bolts, which looks like grade A bolts, washers, nuts, so forth, and a couple of D-rings. And it did come with some nice color instructions. This is really nice with your parts list there. Everything here we have here, and then it tells us that we're going to need 17 millimeter sockets and wrenches and just a ratchet. 2 hours. 2 people may be needed for the installation time. There is an electronic version, a QR code that comes with it, and it's got some pretty detailed, colorful instructions. So this is what the end result should look like. I am anxious to see that. And as you can see, the hitch will meet my goal and pull it up way off the ground. Can't wait to see this installed. So let's get started. You can see the bumper comes really wrapped really well, kind of heavy there. So I'm going to leave it all wrapped up until I get the OEM bumper and hitch off. So the first thing I think we have to do is get this hitch off. First thing we got to do is I got to get that hitch off. Let's take a look and see what we're looking at. All right, so if I remember right, one of these is kind of a pain because I've got to get the bolts from underneath this exhaust. So you got to take this exhaust out right here, and then on the other end, yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. I remember putting this little extra tow hook thing there, so we'll have to take that off, take these off, and that should just drop down. Okay, easy enough. Got that side off, left one bolt on there so it wouldn't fall on my head. Now we'll move to the other side. Didn't realize I had a broken exhaust clamp. Okay, so we've got to get these under here. That'll be fun. It might not be too hard because this moves around now. Okay, I've got one more to take down, and this whole thing should come down. Okay. Okay, now that I've got the hitch out, I think I'm going to leave these studs sticking out. Might put something on here, or at least just put some bolts back on it, because if I remember right, it was kind of a pain to put those in many years ago. So the next step is going to take these end caps off, these plastic pieces. Okay, while I'm under here, I'm going to remove these little 10 millimeter nuts. Okay, on those little bottom, they actually had a nut, as you can see on the back of this bolt there, so keep that in mind. Okay, I got the little bolts for the plastic end pieces now out, so I'm gonna just do everything I gotta do from underneath here while I'm here. Looks like there's some bolt here on the bumper bracket and then one on the other side, so we're gonna take that out. Okay, now I believe I got all the bolts from underneath here. I got the bottom. Oh, nope, I see another one. Got to take a little screw out on this and probably the other side. Okay, these should just slide off like this. There we go. Okay. All right, so now a lot of these XJs have holes right here. They're all rusted out. This one's no exception. This one has a hole right there. So I'm not sure the new bumper is going to cover that, and if it doesn't, we will have to do some type of modification there. Same thing on this side too. I remember pulling this off and treating this rust hole with some POR 15 so it didn't get any worse. May have to pull these off. Not sure what I'm going to do with that as of yet. We need to open this up and figure out how to get the rest of this out. Probably all from behind, I'm sure. Okay, it looks like the only other ones I've got to get are up in there, and those look like they are pressed in studs. So I've got one on one side and we've got one on the other end there. So I think the best way to get them is going to be from the side, which is, as you can see up in there, like that. Okay, I was able to use one of these long handled icon wrenches, 15 millimeter, kind of known as a mountain wrench, and seemed to not be having a problem getting these out. Now I'm able to get these off, and even with my hand for the last few threads, because years ago when I put this back on, I put anti-seize on it, so that's where that stuff comes in handy in the future. Oh, all right, there we go. You can still see the anti-seize on it from all those years ago. Okay, working on the other side. I think I got it out. There we go. Whew. Victory. Okay, let's see what we got here. So we have the remnants of some anti-seize from me many years ago. And looks like in the past somebody tried to pull this thing through these little areas. They didn't have much luck. So I believe we've probably got to take these bumper brackets off. Yes, we got to remove these bumper brackets here. Oops, come on. One-handed. Okay. Okay, now according to the directions, we are at the point of installation, because step one is completely remove everything to where it looks like that, and we have accomplished that. Okay, the next step says that we install part B on the vehicle, which is this, with part H, I, and K, H, I, and K, H, I, and K. So we're going to start with these right here. So before I do any of this, I'm going to be very kind to my future self and use some of the surface shield up in these frame rails here. And I'm going to use this anti-seize on any bolts that I put back on here. So this is the configuration: little anti-seize, washer, and lock washer. And I'll show you. It's going to go through here. Quick note, this says 17 millimeter, but these are actually 16 millimeter. So anyhow, I hope the thread size is right. Let me check. Yes, the thread size and pitch is correct. So anyway, in my kit, it has 16 millimeter. Okay, putting these brackets on, you have this little piece right here which doesn't allow you to get a socket in. So you basically got to use just a regular wrench. Not a problem, just not quite as speedy. Okay, here is a tip. I'm going to have to grind these little tips down a little bit so I can get a socket. up in there. You see I had to grind that down to get a socket. I did not have any socket that would work other than that, so as you see I grinded this one down too. It's not so hard to get on the outside ones, but on the inside ones you have a little space right there, very hard to get, so that's what I would recommend doing it. Just grind it a little bit. Okay, now that we've got the brackets on per the instructions, let's see what we have to do next. All right, so we are now down to this driver side, passenger side. I have done that exactly as it says. Looks like we just install part A on the vehicle. That is the bumper. And it says tighten the rear bumpers A and B with all that stuff. So we're going to use all this to do that. It does not give any torque specifications, so we're just going to guesstimate. Okay, first look at the bumper. It's got some integrated backup LED backup lights here. We'll get those installed at a later date. And as you can see, some D-ring hooks. So this is kind of heavy. Those bumper brackets install up in here somehow. Okay, off camera I tried to fit this. I'm going to pull these tail lights off because I don't want to crack them. I got to do this by myself, so I don't want to smash into them. Okay, the rest of the installation is pretty simple. Basically, let's see here. So you just push the bumper on and put your 4 nuts and bolts and washers in on both sides, and then if you want you can wire up your backup lights. I'm going to do that at a later date, so let me get to tightening these. And on another quick note, when you put these bolts in, make sure you put them with the head of the bolt on the inside of the bracket there and the nuts on the outside, and so you don't have them interfering with one another. By the way, earlier in the video I mentioned these heads of these bolts were 16 millimeter, but the instructions called for 17 millimeter socket. It's because the nuts are 17 millimeter and the heads are 16. Just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, now keep in mind a lot of these old XJs have been beat up and rode hard over the last few years, so sometimes you wonder if the body lines are going to line up pretty good, but these actually did. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about this right now, but if you take a look, these body lines lined up pretty darn good. So next step is I'm going to go ahead and put the tail light assembly back on. It is only 3 10 millimeter bolts, very easy. Okay, here's the finished product. I think it looks really good. The fit and finish on this is actually pretty good. As far as the fitment of the bumper to the body lines, and as far as the ease of installation. I had a little problem on with the sockets that I showed you earlier, so I kind of grinded that part down a little bit. The only other piece that I see on here, the welds are decent. Is this looks like somebody got a little haphazard with the cutting torch or grinder when they put this on there. So one thing I did not find, it might be on their website, I'll have to check that out, is the towing capacity of this. So don't tow anything too heavy, I would imagine. But I'm mainly going to use this for a bicycle carrier. I might go with some black D-rings, or no D-rings at all actually, because these will be rattling, at least when I'm regular driving, and only use those when we go to do recovery. But earlier I was saying, what do you do with this panel here, since we took those off? And there is a solution. I'm not sure if the Hooke Road has them, but Rough Country had them, and so these are some panel armor that you can get, and covers that right up. I'll do another video on that later, but anyway, so this is going to go here, and therefore you get a nice finished look. So if you remember at the beginning of the video, I only had 12 inches of clearance from the bottom of the hitch. Now I am at 19 inches of clearance. So it just perspective, 12 inches, the hitch was way down here, and now it's way up here. So I think this accomplished my goal. So a big shout out to Hooke Road for sending me this Jeep XJ bumper. Check them out. I think they're about to have a Black Friday sale, so I'll leave a link to all that in the description. Again, I think it looks really good. Installation was fairly easy. It looks very durable, so I'm extremely satisfied with it. So hopefully this helps y'all make a great buying decision. Y'all have a great day.